For many years, I've been known as the person that always goes back to pen and paper, and I don't think that'll ever change. So I'm probably always going to go back to pen and paper, especially when I need to make things clearer. But that doesn't mean that pen and paper is always the best solution for the task. So I was doing my own version of this as kind of a test to see if Craft could handle the amount of stuff that I was putting into it. That is, until recently, when Craft made public its calendaring feature and daily notes. Now, daily notes, in my opinion, are a great way to know what happened within that day. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of room for Craft to develop on this concept, but they're coming out of the gate pretty strong. And I want to talk about a little bit of my previous bullet journaling in Craft, if you can call it that, and why I'm so excited for the next version taking advantage of these daily notes. Let's talk about it. So let's take a look at what I'm currently doing with Craft in this bullet journal test. As you can tell from the last couple of weeks, I've been playing with this idea of creating a daily log for all of the events. Let's jump into May and see we have this, breakdown from the first day that I started up until the current. And we're actually at the end of this week. So what I would do here is actually grab all these and group them together into 1 week, call it week of, and that's going to be the 25th through the 31st, 2021. Now, if we jump into it, we can see we have each of these days lined up. Of course, if I wanted to style them up a little bit, I could. We could make each one a card and add a little flair to it. But honestly, it's, this is fine. None of this is super important. But as you can see, each of them have this very similar format. Let's jump into this one. You can see that I had a work event that I needed to work on, and I have the link to that. And this is actually why I like this. One of the things that I've complained about, and people often complain about with bullet journaling from a traditional notebook, is that you do lose a little bit of the assistance that you could get. You don't have the ability to, click a link that's in your notebook. I see the potential here of saying, okay, here's a link. I'm always going to have this link. Even if it's an internal link, which is why I like this idea for Craft very much, is that I can actually link to the individual episodes of podcast recordings if I want to do that. If I want to link out to an event that I'm working on and some notes, I can do that as well. But ultimately, the idea is having a page for each day almost treats that page like a tag. So let's take a look at this. I've enabled the calendar view. You can see where it is down here at the bottom, where you have calendar, and then you also have your normal folder structure and a new search feature, which I'm definitely going to want to talk about in the future. But for right now, we're talking about the calendar view. You can also customize what calendar events you see, which is super cool. I love that. I love that you don't have to look at everything all the time. And you can tell that this goes all the way through everything, and you can see all of your events, which is great. So I'm going to jump back to today, and inside of today, you have this create daily note, which is where we're at now. That's this thing. And if I just start writing here, you can actually see it appear over in the corner as well, which I think is super important. You have a good idea of the different things that you've wanted to talk about or you wanted to highlight for that day without actually having to open the document itself. To me, that's super amazing, because that was what I was using the bullet journal daily view before to do. And you can still use it the same way you did before. You can go to a video. Let's pause that, and then let's just add that video into here, and it's there. It's still there the same way. We didn't have to do anything different than what we did before. You now have that same document there, and it's visible in the side. Now, one thing that they did mention that I don't necessarily love, but I totally understand is these notes live almost as if the calendar itself was a separate folder. No matter where you are, you can search for it, and it is in your recently opened document. So if I go here, I still see it there as June. I can even type it in. You see June, let's see, June 1. So as you can tell, it's still a little bit to work on. You do have to use the exact language, but you even see a new icon that shows, hey, this is a calendar date. I think that this is a great start. Could it be better? Absolutely, but you know what? It's a great first swing at this, and I can't wait to see what else they have in this feature as well. As you can see, Craft is continuing to innovate with this fast release schedule, as well as many new features, and they have plenty to come. And I want to talk about a bunch of them, but I have to say I'm pretty impressed and I'm happy. Integrations and tools that are built into the apps by design are always going to have more features and more support than what we can do trying to hotwire our own solutions. So for me, it's more important that Craft sees how people are using their platform and they start to introduce some of those automations into their system, making it a first-party feature instead of an add-on that we have to be worried about being removed at any point in time. So that said, I'm super pumped about the new calendar feature in Craft. I can't wait to use it. You can use it too. I'll have links in the description. Of course, remember Craft is a subscription tool, so if you want to use that, you have to make that decision for yourself. I don't get a kickback on any of this, but shout out to the folks at Craft. If you're looking for help there, check out their Slack channel and their community. You can often find me in there stirring up lots of good trouble. But that's going to do it for this video. I've been Jay Miller, and I don't know, go make a daily list or something.